Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited today to be here to be talking our best films of Hallmark Channel and Hallmark Movies and Mysteries 2020 for Christmas. It's going to be really fun. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and I have two of my favorite co-hosts are here. We have Kari's here.
Hey, guys.
And Jess is here.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. So I hope you all both had a good Christmas season. We were able to get through 40 movies. Can you believe it?
No, 40 movies. I kind of doubted if I could do it, honestly, but it was fun, and you kept up with them every week, and I had a blast.
Yeah, I did it last year, but I feel like this year I struggled more to keep up with the movie each week for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was just, I don't know, such a busy time, and there were so many holiday movies, not even just from Hallmark, but there was Lifetime and Netflix and so much going on. But what do you think, Jess? Do you think it was a pretty good slate overall?
I do. I think it was better than last year. And honestly, I mean, there really weren't too many movies from this season that I disliked. I liked most of them. I had a very hard time with this list because it was hard to pick my top 10.
Yeah.
And even then, I feel like a lot of them could be kind of interchangeable. So yeah, I think they definitely hit the mark and had a strong year.
Yeah, I think so too. There are really only 3 that I would say I hated. The rest I would watch again. There's a bunch that are kind of but there were a good 20, I would say, that I kind of battled with for this top 10 spot that I went back and forth on and that I enjoyed.
Wow, 20, that's great.
I would say, about half. Yeah.
I felt like if people asked me for recommendations, I was able to, give them a great list, like a really good long list of movies to watch for and look and record because they were just so good.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's dive in and talk about our list. So, I have at number 10 on my list, I have A Timeless Christmas.
Yes.
I thought that it was very well cast, and that went a long way in this movie. I mean, I think Ryan Pavey is perfect to play this man from the past that comes back, and I think it had some humor in it. I think that sometimes these movies that are based on books, it helps because there's already been kind of an editing process in a way.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have a pretty strong foundation. And I think that helped with this. And Erin Cale is so lovely and wonderful. Yeah. And I liked the side relationship with the 2 actors, the couple. I thought that was kind of an interesting dynamic where they're trying to kind of figure out, is this what we want in our life to be doing? And I thought that was nice. And there was just enough kind of fish out of water stuff to be funny as much as they could in the time. It was a little rushed. And it was one that I wished I could have seen a feature film because I could have used even a little bit more between them. But I still overall enjoyed it. So it's my number 10.
Was that the top Hallmark movie, like the most watched one out of the year?
No, I think The Christmas Waltz is the most.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I think Lacey Chabert, both of her movies were the number 1 on each channel. I think Time for Us to Come Home for Christmas, which I enjoyed. I have it at 20. It was definitely, I think Time for Us to Come Home for Christmas was the best of the I have a letter or a photo or a ring or a
there was a lot of those this season.
Yeah,
that plot line kept coming back.
Yeah, I was telling I was telling y'all that you need to have a deliver me a podcast episode of the Sign Seal Deliver Wannabe, the best, because there was a lot of those this year
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
both channels and on Lifetime. So it was just a thing that
Oh,
there
yeah.
was a lot of fake Sign Seal Delivered
Right.
movies.
They just got some inspiration from Martha Williamson.
I think so. It makes you realize that, yeah, that what how hard it is to pull off what she pulls off.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Lacey Spare, her Christmas Waltz at 3.95 million,
Wow.
and the Time for Us to Come Over Christmas at 1.90 million.
Okay.
There
And
you have it.
both networks had higher viewership this year than last year, with 2.90 million viewers for Hallmark Channel versus 2.87 last year. And
Wow.
Hallmark Movies and Mysteries had 1.32 and at 1.22 last year.
Wow. Well, like
And
you said, people were ready. They were ready to hunker down and watch some good,
Mhm.
just good feel good stories.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
even my friend who's not super into Hallmark, she approached me and was like, "Let's watch some Hallmark movies." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I got a
Yeah.
list."
Well, and plus there just hasn't been as much other stuff for people to watch.
True.
Compared to, normally we'd be getting like a Star Wars movie in December, or those kind of things.
Yeah.
And we did have The Mandalorian and some other stuff for people to watch, but there's never any shortage of entertainment in our world. But there wasn't as much competition for
Right.
Right.
people's screen time as there usually is. But Jess, what's your number 10?
Okay, so my number 10 is If I Only Had Christmas. And I know some, maybe a lot of people did not enjoy this movie, including
Uh-huh.
Rachel.
Yes.
But so here's the backstory for me. So prior to watching If I Only Had Christmas, I had never seen The Wizard of Oz. Like, never
Uh-huh.
before in my life. Never read the book. I didn't know anything except for faint references,
Uh-huh.
from other things. And so I watched The Wizard of Oz just days before I saw this movie. And so I think that really helped because
Yeah.
I caught a lot of references. Not that other people didn't, but I think there was maybe some things in there that were a little deeper, maybe than if you had only seen it as a child and barely remember anything. So I thought it was really fun and cleverly written, and very whimsical. So
Uh-huh.
I put it as number 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. What did you think of that one, Carrie?
Yeah, I just thought it was okay. I did think that I like seeing him in movies, and he was really charming in this one, I thought. Oh my goodness, his name is escaping me right now.
Warren Christie.
Yeah, Warren
Yes,
Christie.
Warren Christie. So I thought they had kind of a really fun meet cute at the
Mhm.
bar there, and yeah, it was a sweet one.
Yeah, it was not my favorite, but I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I really am. I
I think
I
there's quite a
do.
few I liked that you did not enjoy.
Yeah,
um, but yeah, I it was too exposition heavy, and I didn't feel like it was. I don't know. It was a little too gimmicky for me with the Wizard of Oz stuff,
you didn't like that.
but yeah, and I mean, I love CCB, but I do think it's one of her weaker entries. And I loved it. Her movie last year was my favorite of the
And
whole
see, I didn't
season
like that
last
one
year.
at all last
Christmas
year.
Town. I
Yeah.
love that one. That's funny. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
There's
I
something
put
So
out
that
there for
over
everyone, that just
30
shows
on
you.
mine.
yeah, no,
Absolutely.
it's true. That it's so funny, isn't it funny because people think that you always hear, "Oh, well, they're all the same," and
No,
they're actually definitely not. And
no.
No, yeah. It's a
and
unique
I do,
experience for everybody.
yeah, and I do think that this year not only did they have more diversity, which was great, but they also, I think, tried a little bit to have some different plots. Something like A Timeless Christmas, or
Yeah.
uh we had then we had two time travel stories in a Christmas Comes Twice.
Mhm.
And so I appreciate that they did the Christmas Carol take, and they were trying, I think, to do some different stuff.
Yeah, I think at the very least we had less party planning movies
Yeah, thank
than we did
Lord.
last year. Yes, which is good because I do not enjoy
Whew.
that plot. Although I was sad there was no fake boyfriend
Yeah,
storyline. I do like that one, even though it's ridiculous in real life. I do like it in a movie.
yeah, I do too. I do too. All right, Carrie, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is On the 12th Date of Christmas. I really, I just thought the two leads were fantastic in it and they really played off each other well. The work colleague type of thing, where opposites attract, you know, trope is a fun one for me. I really like that one where he feels like she's way too much, too much energy, too many decorations, too many everything, but then realizes, oh, she's just right for me. So I think that's really sweet. But I liked the different stories that they brought in as well, like his sister and her niece or his niece. I thought that was really a nice relationship. And then you see, what's her name? Jennifer, the main character. She builds these really solid work relationships and really grows in her work presence. And
Uh-huh.
so I thought it was really well balanced in a lot. It wasn't just about the romance, which was fun. It was a little rushed for me, but I still liked it because I like them. So yeah, that's mine. 12th Date of Christmas comes in at number 10.
Yeah, I have that coming up on mine too. I really enjoyed it. Tyler's so charismatic.
Yeah.
Of course we love him, and I thought Mallory was a fun new add to the Hallmark family,
Yes.
and the concept of the scavenger hunt was a lot of fun, setting up the clues, and they seemed like reasonably challenging, the
Right.
clues and
Yeah.
the thing, and I loved her office,
Yes.
her Christmas
All the Christmas
office.
decorations.
That was really fun. So yeah. Uh, all right. Well, my number 9 is Christmas by Starlight,
Okay.
and it is kind of amazing that I liked this as much as I did because it's a Save the Cafe storyline and a party planning storyline, both which I don't like for the most part, or I'm not my favorite. But anything can be good if it's executed well, and I think this was. And
Yes.
you had such nice chemistry between Kimberly and Paul. They did a great job writing it, and the dialogue was snappy, and
Yeah.
it. I watched it with my parents, and because I think it was on Thanksgiving Day or the day it was right around then, and so that was fun also to watch it with my parents, and they liked it, and it was just an enjoyable rom com,
Yes.
I think,
Good number 9.
and yeah. Jess, what about you? What's your number 9?
My number 9 is The Angel Tree.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, first of all, Jill Wagner is fantastic in it, I thought, because she's just
Yeah.
hilarious. And I think one of the things that just really, it's the silliest little thing, but I loved her meet cute when she like throws or blows the straw wrapper into his face. I literally had to stop the movie because I was dying laughing. Like it was just so funny to me because I used to do that as a child and still do, to people. Usually not into their eye. And I thought it was kind of fresh that, they had known each other and it was like it wasn't like an awkward meeting back up. Sometimes when they have a history and meet back up, it's super awkward and weird. And I like that it wasn't. They were genuinely excited to see each other. And then, of course, the whole mystery with the angel tree and it being the community was, I think, really fun. So that was my number 9.
Yeah, I mean that had a lot of really nice moments, and the sense of community was nice. The pacing was a little slow for me at times.
I could see that.
Sometimes these Hallmark movies and mysteries ones can be more slow.
Right.
But I did still overall enjoy it, and yeah, and Jill was great for
This
sure.
was better than her last year's mistletoe secret kisses, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
Mistletoe
This
wishes?
had a much better movie this year.
where
I
she,
would agree.
yeah, there are no mistletoe kisses in that movie, which I felt very betrayed. But
And it was a party
Carrie,
planning movie.
yeah,
Right. I thought, I mean, the two of them, Jess, had really good chemistry. I thought Jill and Lucas Bryant.
yeah,
He was fun and playful and really charming,
it felt like they had known each other for a long time. Felt like
which
they were
good.
friends.
Yeah, because that was
Yeah.
those were their characters, but they really pulled that off for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Love Lights Hanukkah. And
Mm.
this one is ranked high for me because it was the dark horse, actually, and all four. I didn't know if I was going to like it, and I loved it. It was such a fun surprise. So family oriented. You know, it's really important to know who you are and figure out who you are. And she just opens her heart to these relationships, and they opened their heart to accepting her. You know,
Mm.
finds out she's adopted and finds her biological mother and sister and brother. And Ben Savage, of course, was just hilarious in it. He was so funny to me, just with the different ways he would say goodbye. I was like, oh my goodness, what is he doing? But, I thought the mother-daughter relationship, or the birth mother, yes, that birth mother relationship
Yeah.
with that. So anyway, I thought that was really, really well done.
Mhm.
Maybe not the language or how they talked about it. You know, we've had those conversations, but
Mhm.
just the sweetness of their relationship was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had that at 15. And so I had it pretty high.
Yeah.
I loved all the sort of dating sequences in that one, and I thought they did a, a good job of combining Hanukkah and Christmas into a story better
Mhm.
than the ones last year,
Mhm.
as far as that aspect of it.
And it was definitely like, oh, what does this mean? What is that? Why do you do this for Hanukkah? You know, and that they
Mhm.
did that a lot, but it made sense in the story. I don't think it
Yeah.
was off-putting, or you know,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, it made sense.
Plus, they had the whole crazy latkes that made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, he wants to
Yeah.
make a he's gonna
Oh,
make a
those are so
chocolatka.
funny. That was hilarious. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, I'll say more on this in just a minute because it is on my list. But I will agree with you, Carrie. I think it was a dark horse for me as well because I saw the preview. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I actually almost didn't watch it. I was like, this seems. I didn't like. Seemed like the storyline didn't interest me, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, whatever. And then I heard people say it was really good, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'll watch the Hanukkah movie. And
Right.
I'm glad I did because it was pretty
Yeah,
good.
it was good. So all right. Well, my number 8 is a Christmas tree grows in Colorado.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I didn't have the highest of expectations for this because typically when there something when it's loosely based on a classic novel, that kind of annoys me because there's no relationship at all,
Right. It's
and there
totally.
wasn't any relationship to the book in this at all.
You're right.
But nevertheless, I I was able to get over that, and I thought it was really cute, and I loved the kiss. Was
It was the best.
one of it was so memorable, it's so good, and I really liked Rochelle in this leading role. I think if she wants to be a Hallmark leading lady, she totally can. I thought that
Good.
she was very good, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a sweet little movie, and it was funny,
Yeah.
and so it ended up at number 8 for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely I have it high on my list because I mean, not in the top 10, but because of that kiss. I mean, that was a
Yeah.
gold mine for me because I was like, oh, what just happened? I can't
Yeah.
believe Hallmark did that. That was awesome. So that was just a really great mid
Yeah.
movie angry kiss. Yes.
Yeah.
Good one.
It was fun when just to be on Twitter when it happened, and everybody is like, "Whoa!"
Oh my goodness.
It definitely can add to the movie watching experience when you are live tweeting.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody,
Absolutely.
like, oh my gosh. What? So, uh, all right. Well, Jess, what is your number 8?
All right, so my number 8 was Love Light Hanukkah. So we just talked about that. But the reason I think it worked for me, it wasn't so much the adoption storyline, but I just thought that their romance was so natural feeling.
Yes.
And like it didn't feel forced. It wasn't like linked by all these crazy events like or anything. I don't know. It just felt like this very natural, like watching real life almost.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it was a really sweet movie, and I really liked it. I'm glad I watched it and didn't let my judge a movie by its preview get in the way.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that you watched it too then. And I kind of hope he's in more.
Me
He's fun
Yeah.
too.
and he's nostalgic for a lot of us. And it was just nice to see him in a Hallmark movie.
I know. It's like, welcome to Hallmark, Ben Savage. And now my dream is for him and Daniel Fishel to do one. That would be amazing.
That
Because, of
would
course,
be amazing.
they're on Boy Meets World together. That would be epic. All right. Carrie, what do you have at number 8?
Yes, I have number 8, A Cross Country Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Cross
Yep.
Country Christmas. I got a little fatigued at the end of all of this whole lineup, and here we
Uh-huh.
are this last weekend of Hallmark movies, and here comes A Cross Country Christmas, and I was laughing out loud. There were some really funny moments, really funny dialogue, and it was just so bizarre how they had to just travel home in all these different ways, and they went the wrong direction. But the whole
Yeah.
time, they're just really their friendship is growing, and then it turns sweetly into like this romantic relationship. But they just like looked out for each other and tried to see the best in each other and really help each other kind of grieve or I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I just thought it was really fun and funny and believable. To be honest, which is like not believable. All the ways that they had to travel home, they did it.
No,
Rachel Lee Cook
I,
was amazing in it.
yeah, I agree. And I had low expectations for this because I wasn't sure on the chemistry, and the writer has not been my favorite in things that some of the things she's written.
Yeah.
So I was skeptical, and I really didn't like her movie last year, which the Christmas on My Mind was not for me,
That's right.
and so I was very skeptical, but I also enjoyed it. I had it at number 12,
Oh
so
yeah,
it was pretty close for me. But yeah, it was funny, it was sweet, and so yeah, that was a surprise, I would say, for the season for me.
yeah.
It was, so I could see why it made your list. Uh, All right. And I'm glad to see that they did work in more humor this season, and I'd encourage them to keep trying with that.
Yes.
Oh yes, humor totally sells for me. Like I've said it a million times, but witty banter, that's the way to my heart. So
Yeah.
if you got it in the movie, I'll probably like it.
Yeah. So my number 7 is On the 12th Date of
Ah.
Christmas.
Mhm.
So we talked about it a little bit, but I thought that Tyler was great. He was a little bit grumpy for him.
Yeah,
Is
since the beginning.
but still, I kind of liked it. I liked Surly Tyler, I guess, and I I liked her a lot. I thought that, again, she's another person that I think could do a bunch of these if she wants. I thought she was really good, and I liked the fact that she gained confidence throughout the story,
Yeah.
and to be able to stand up for herself at the end, I think was nice.
Yeah.
So I added at number 7. So.
Great.
What about you, Jess?
My number 7 was Christmas Waltz. So
Mhm.
I know it's a lot higher for both of you, I believe. But yeah, I thought it was a super fun movie. And I mean, there's dancing and the hilarious scene where they're going down the street. And I just have to say, the kid who played what was his name? Nikki. That kid was so fantastic. I loved watching him dance, like
Yes.
with
Oh
him as
yeah, he was
well.
really good.
Yeah, I looked him up. He was like on Dancing with the Stars Junior. I'm like, well, that makes
Yes.
sense. He's totally a professional. So
My kids
Mhm.
recognized him right away from that. They were like, "Hey, that's that kid from Dancing with the Stars Junior." I was like, "Oh yeah."
I didn't even know there was a Dancing with the Stars Junior, but so now I do, and I'm glad there is because this kid is really awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
that's a
was
good point.
such a fun movie. Such a fun movie and very very whimsical.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, let's keep talking about Christmas balls because I also have it at my number 7, Jess.
Oh, look
So
at
that is
that.
number 7, A Christmas Waltz. And there were two things I really enjoyed about this. You know, you anticipate obviously a lot of dancing, and they were good. So that was really fun. But they had some really fun moments outside of the dance studio as well. You know, just the way she like injured him with the snowball, and then she had to take care of him at his house. Like that was funny. And I really, really like the the creepy boyfriend. The old
Oh, he was the worst. Like he did a good job with that role, but you're just like, "Oh, I hate you so much. You're the worst." Oh my god.
Oh
I love
yeah.
to hate him. David was his name, the fiance, and then he came
Uh-huh.
back and he was like being manipulative and he tried to,
I know.
you
It's like,
know,
how
come to
dare
the
you?
studio.
Who
Here's
do you
why I
think you
like
are?
that. I liked that
Yeah.
because Hallmark does not do that anymore.
Yeah,
There are no
true.
villains hardly anymore. And he just was a true villain the whole time. There was no redemption for him. Like, I just
That's
thought that was
true.
funny.
That's a good point. Yeah, I have it higher, so I'll talk a little bit more about Christmas Waltz later on. But yeah, I adored it. I thought it was great, and I think that Will Kemp and Lacey Chabert are like my new Hallmark power couple.
Really?
New power couple.
I loved them. I mean, I really enjoyed Love, Romance, and Chocolates, and I thought that was good. And then now for them to just hit it out of the park with this, I'm like, make more movies, please.
He's got to
Make more
compete with Brennan
movies.
Elliott.
Yes.
I know.
They're always
There's,
pairing those two together.
I love Brennan, but sorry, I want,
You have this new favorite, a new
yeah,
favorite
new
house.
favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, my number 6 is Holly and Ivy. And I think I mean I thought the trailers for this, the promos made it look super emotionally manipulative. Like
Right.
I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this." Uh, but it actually wasn't that much of a crier. I thought I was going to cry a lot. It definitely had a couple moments, but it was actually quite sweet and joyful,
Hmm.
and it's one that we'll definitely be covering with our on friendship series that I do with Elisa. That
Yeah.
that was the main thrust of the movie, was about this friendship between these two women,
Right.
versus the romance was kind of secondary, which I like and I wish they would do more of. And it felt genuine and authentic to me, the bond. And I like the fact that when when she offers to take the kids in, immediately she's like, whoa, wait a minute, what did I just offer? Because that to me felt authentic, because I think that any human being would say, oh, I want to help out, in this situation. That would be your natural inclination.
Hmm.
But then you'd also step back and be like, wait a minute,
Realize you
I'm
ignored
going to be
it.
adopting two
Yeah.
children and my life is never going to be the same, kind of a thing. And so that felt very honest to me as well. Whereas I'm trying to think of, I feel like there was another movie this year where I was just, and it might not even been for Hallmark. I can't think of what it was, but where I was just kind of like, I think that you'd have some, you'd at least wrestle with with what you could do a little
Right.
bit, right?
Yeah.
You'd at least struggle with what you could do, and so I appreciated that. I mean, Jeremy Jordan, hello, welcome to Hallmark. I love him so much. I
We'll
mean,
just stay
the
a
plot with
while.
him and his dad was fairly basic, but I still enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And the kids were cute, adorable. And Janelle Parrish, she did great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, So it's my number 6.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, Jess, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Never Kiss a Man in a Christmas Sweater.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's written by Nina, so come on, let's be real. We know it's going to be great. I mean, it's fast, it's snappy. I love that about Nina's writing. It just brought the comedy and the fun for me, and seeing Niall in that sweater was pretty good too.
Yeah. That one I have at 13, so just missed my list. But
Just missed the mark.
yeah, but I mean, when she knocks him out with that tree, that was pretty hilarious.
So that's one test that I need to give. I kept it on my DVR because I need to give it another chance. And it's not in my top 10, but it's in the top 20. But I feel like I'm primed to like this so much more than I remember liking it. The two characters, the whole storyline, the hilarious title, the writer. It's like, why don't I remember liking this as much as I should have? So I'm trying it again this week. I'm going to rewatch.
Oh. Yeah, we all have those ones that we enjoyed, but maybe not as much as we were hoping to.
Right.
But so that happens. But yeah, I mean, it was a kind of a bonkers premise, but it was fun. It was more about the like the military kids angle than I was expecting.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that she was divorced and had this pretty positive relationship with the ex, and that it was sort of positively portraying somebody sharing custody, which I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that in a Hallmark movie where somebody doesn't have her daughter with her for the holidays. Like, that's definitely something a lot of people probably could relate to.
Yeah, you're right. That was definitely a different spin. That was really positive.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kind of did that a little bit with It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. I mean, they weren't like gone for the holidays, but with the shared custody and all that.
Oh man, that was so good. I love that one.
Good one. Yeah.
All right.
Hey everybody, I just want to take a second from this episode today to tell you about the Hallmarkies Podcast Awards. Yes, we're doing another Hallmarkies Podcast Awards. The second annual awards will be held later this month in January, but right now you can go vote. If you are listening to this between January 1st of 2021 to January 8th of 2021, you can go into the description, click the voting link, and vote for your favorite things from Hallmark Channel in 2020. So go click that link, go vote, and you have until January 8th, 2021 at midnight Pacific Standard Time to vote, and there will be more information about when that will be airing and all that fun stuff in the weeks ahead. So go down in the description and vote. Back to the episode.
Kari, what's your number 6?
Yes, I have Christmas by Starlight at 6, and this is just this classic storyline for a Hallmark Christmas movie, but everything, just the actors, the writers, who are the same, obviously, but the banter, the chemistry took it up a notch for me, and I will watch this one anytime. It is so cute, so funny. I liked the character development. There was genuine character development in him to when he gave her at the end this really thoughtful Christmas gift. It almost, I want to say, I kind of like was a little teary because it was so thoughtful, and he was really just had changed throughout the movie. So I love that one, Christmas by Starlight.
Yeah, it was really good. It was good pick. All right, well, my number 5 is Good Morning Christmas.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the banter between Mark Lucas and Allison Sweeney. They're pros. They know how to do it, and they did it. I think it had one of the best cookie making sequences of the season, because it was so intentional. He knew that was something that was part of her Christmas, and he set it all up to make her happy.
Yeah.
I thought that really worked, as opposed to other times when it kind of just feels superfluous.
Yeah, and montage.
yeah. And I just really enjoyed the banter between the two of them, and They had a lot of fun tropes, like the three when they did the three-legged race and they end up on top of each other, which I
Right.
always laugh in these movies when they're just like, "Oh, I'm falling right on top of you," and we're
Well, and they stayed there for a significant
yeah,
period of time, just
they
chatting
did,
away.
they did,
This is
and I like
interesting.
that. And it had some of the best Christmas decor production of any movie that I saw.
Oh.
I just thought the Christmas trees and the in their hotel rooms and
Oh, they're beautiful.
the
You're right.
Christmas decor I thought was really really well done. So yeah, I have it at number 5 for me. So Jess, what about you? What's your number 5?
My number 5 was Cross Country Christmas. Um, and yeah, I mean, we already talked about it, but I just thought it was really funny. And I think a lot of that was Rachel Laycock's character was just so like she really brought that humor with because usually I don't like the type of movie where it's like just one thing after another prevents them from their destination or something. Usually I don't like that. But I think the humor really worked for me. Um, and then he was kind of cranky in the beginning, but then he had that nice transition. Like they did it early enough for me. And Rachel and I we've talked about this. Like you have to transition the cranky character earlier enough so you don't end up disliking them the entire
Yeah.
movie.
Right.
And I think they did that early enough for me, especially when he put the Rudolph nose on and like helping her spot the reindeer,
Yeah.
quote unquote, and the dog grooming van. Oh my gosh, like it was just funny to me. I loved it.
Yeah. It really was funny. And so I would encourage them to do more movies like that. It was good. So that's a good pick. All right, Carrie, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is One Royal Holiday. I
Mhm.
I don't love royal movies. They're not my favorite. Of course, I'll watch them, but they're not my favorite. But this one was really fun for me that they took the royals out of their element and brought them to that classic small Hallmark town and had them at all of the tree lighting and the sleigh ride and the snowball fight or whatever, like, or they had snow baseball. But
Mhm.
that was really funny because it loosened up the royals a little bit in a way that they brought humor actually to the movie where I didn't anticipate that. But they were funny and the Broadway stars were amazing in it. I thought, even though they didn't sing, they just brought the acting up, took that up a notch. So I liked it. One Royal Holiday. I think my favorite scene was the decorating and the dancing that they did. It was really romantic and yeah, number 5.
Yeah. It's a really good one. I'll be talking about that in a little bit. It's really good, and yeah, I liked that dynamic of the royals needing kind of a place to stay
Right.
and being the fish out of water as opposed to the typical uh, the typical foreigner in a unfamiliar land kind of that we usually get in those movies. So I enjoyed it as well, and I felt kind of bad for the Christmas Carousel because I mean, it was that one wasn't the worst, but it wasn't great. I don't think,
Yeah.
but I just felt like it didn't have much of a chance even because you'd already had such a good royal
Royal
movie
movie.
that in the year to compare it to, and that kind of was hard for it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very good pick. All right, so my number 4 is The Christmas Bow,
Ooh.
and this was definitely the biggest surprise of the season. I wasn't sure how she would do being a non-actress
Yeah.
in Lucia Maccarelli, but I thought she did a good job. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest performance of my life that I've seen, but I thought it was fine. She did a fine job, and Michael Rady is great, and he helped her. I think
Mhm.
he elevated her performance, and I thought it had so many sweet moments,
Yeah.
and her struggling with this injury to her hands and just how devastating that would be
Yeah.
if you if that was your whole life was your violin, and her trying to kind of figure out what does she want in her life, what is she going to do. It was very well done, and just the whole scene where the flashback where she plays for her grandmother, and I thought that the woman who played her grandmother did such a great job. I mean, she had that look of, she played having dementia like really well, and then her connecting with the song, it got me. I definitely cried, and I felt like it was just such a powerful moment that it was one of my favorites. And the little boy learning to play the violin was so cute too. And I appreciate there was some diversity in this one, and yeah, so it was my number 4.
Yeah, that movie, it didn't make my list, but I will say I really appreciated that they brought in an actual musician uh to play this, because I mean, in Christmas in Vienna, Sarah Drew did fantastic faking it, but
Yeah.
I think it's always really nice when they have the actual musician, because otherwise they have to like be very like intentional with the camera shots, so you're only seeing their
Right.
hands, they're only seeing the top half, and I hate that, because I think it takes away from like a musical performance, especially when it's the focus of
I
the movie.
agree.
And I think that's why Chateau Christmas didn't really work for me, um, because it felt like they were just hiding the piano playing the whole time, and that was like the focus. Um,
Right. Yeah, that's a
so
good point.
I
That's true.
really enjoyed that they brought a musician, because you could see her passion for the playing and all that. So
Yeah.
that was really nice for sure.
That really, when she would play, it was like, wow, that is amazing. I mean, she is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So that's a good point. I agree with you about that. And so, Jess, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is On the 12th Day to Christmas. So obviously we've talked about
Ah,
this one already quite a bit. But yeah, I just thought it was really fun with the clues and the dates. I'm like, I want to go on this little scavenger hunt thing.
Yes.
Like, this sounds fun. And they had really good chemistry. At first I wasn't sure like if it was gonna work, because he was pretty cranky in the beginning, and almost like too far. Almost too far.
yeah.
But it did end up working, and I think one of the things, that really sold this movie for me was just kind of that message about confidence, like you talked about. Like when she has that conversation with, I forget what her position was, but that boss lady, and she was like, you have confidence in your ideas, but you're intimidated into staying silent. And I just felt that was such a powerful message, especially for women in the workplace. And I just really appreciated that was in there. So that was
You
one
know,
of the
I
reasons it got so high for me.
I think it helps that we have sort of the bond with Tyler as an actor,
Yeah.
because that if this had been his first movie, I think we might have been like, I don't know, but because we all like him so much, and I think that helped a little bit.
It
But
does.
yeah,
You do start giving some of your favorites the benefit of the doubt.
Yes,
You're
you
like, oh
do.
yeah, this.
There's some bias there.
yeah. But I think there was also a certain degree of escapism in the fact that we can't do those kind of
Mm.
events and stuff like that this
Yeah,
year. So the doing a scavenger hunt was just fun.
yeah.
Some wine and canvas at home. It's all good.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Carrie, what's your number 4?
Yes, my number 4 is Project Christmas Wish. I
Mhm.
thought this was so much fun. I liked all the characters. I liked this Christmas dad who comes in, and
Christmas
this,
Day.
his daughter who's playing matchmaker, and she wants him to, um, have a regular Christmas again, and then find love again. And she just was so cute. And then, but I liked Lucy, the main character. Her relationship with this little girl was genuine. I really felt I believed it the whole time. Like they really were developing this sweet relationship, and this dad comes in. So anyway, it kind of felt a little Beauty and the Beast to me, because his hair was just so. But he was so handsome, and then he really like softens up and opens his heart to her. I could not believe when they were talking on the swing, I could not believe that he was so pointed with his, he said, "You're so beautiful. Can I kiss you?" And I'm like, okay, that doesn't happen in Hallmark movies.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cute. That was cute.
He said, "You're so beautiful. Can I kiss you?" And she said, "Yes." And then they kissed, and he freaks
And then he
out.
ruined it.
That was so heartbreaking. So I thought their chemistry was great, though, and their banter was really fun.
Yeah, yeah, that was a fun moment with the kiss, and I mean, and then kind of you could understand why
You
she
can.
was like, like confused and upset, and so that's what's helpful when you have a mid movie or not at the last 30 seconds kiss, is that it can be part of the conflict, it can be part of the plot.
Right.
Like, well, we did this, and because I've always said that I feel like a almost kiss, as far as plot wise, really wouldn't be that different than an actual kiss.
Right.
Like in reality, if I almost kiss someone versus actually kissing them, I don't feel like it's that different.
Right.
Like it's still the moment happened, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's I've liked I feel like they have been doing more mid movie kisses
Right.
in the last little while on Hallmark, and I say do more. Encourage.
Yeah, and especially this Christmas season, like, they were just, like, coming left and right with those mid-movie kisses. I was like, "What is happening?"
Well, and Nina had told us when we talked to her one time, she told us that, like, if you have two characters who are unattached to other people and they're two adults and they're having this conversation and they want to kiss, like, yeah, make them kiss.
Yeah.
And so to me, that was really kind of believable. Like, yeah, they would kiss in that situation and then they would have some conflict about it afterwards. But I thought she did a great job with her Angel, the project that she does with the Christmas wish and granting these wishes and the reason why she does that. And I liked her character. I don't think you did, Rachel, but I liked who she was. She was bossy and idealistic and creative.
Yeah.
I liked her.
I feel like I need to maybe watch this one again, maybe after I have a little bit of a break and then come back to it, because everybody else seemed to have enjoyed it a lot more than I did, and so kind of it may have been a little bit of burnout since it was the last weekend. I don't know, but I don't know, it just felt like she was so pushy, and particularly with the whole marriage proposal,
right?
I was just like, just leave them alone, let them do their thing. Stop it.
But
I have this one coming on my list, but I do agree. I didn't like her being pushy, but at the same time, like, well, she just has her friend's best intentions, and she's just clearly not getting the signal.
Right. I was thinking of that too before, because you said she was so pushy with the proposal, but she has this main Christmas wish she has to focus on for the season, this little girl, and the dad who is giving her opposition at every turn, frustrating her creativity at every turn. As soon as she has one person say, "Hey, can you help me?" she goes like all in and too much, way over top, because she's
bringing the snow and the quartet.
Yeah, I liked it. That was my number 4.
Yeah, very good. All right, so my number 3 is The Christmas Waltz, and I just absolutely loved this movie. I can't dance at all. Like because I'm like a little bit dyslexic, and so any kind of like pattern dancing, especially like doing a waltz or something like that, it's literally physically difficult for me to do and remember and have the rhythm and all that stuff. I'm the worst. And so I love watching people that can actually dance. I love watching them dance. And so obviously Will Kemp is an incredible dancer, and so to have him be able to actually dance was so great. And I thought that they did have really nice chemistry, and there were just like little scenes that were really fun. Like I loved when she brings him and makes breakfast for him, and it ends up she's like, "I charred it, sorry." It's burnt. But I don't know, I just love that whole scene was funny to me. And when he is basically playing Charlie Chaplin, and that it was also in that scene was so great. And then yeah, the dancing down the street was also was probably my favorite moment of all of Hallmark 2020.
Yeah.
And that and the Christmas Bow playing the violin for her grandma. Those were probably my two favorite scenes in all of Hallmark for the year. I thought it was just whimsical and sweet and romantic and
Unexpected.
yeah, and I thought they did a really good job with the montages that instead of spending all this time, watching them train, they basically did it in this kind of this music montage. And I thought that it was effective and I enjoyed it. Uh, and I liked his family and her getting to know his family was very sweet. I also liked the fact that she was an only child and like her parents were like pretty cool and we're like, yeah, well, hey, we'll go support you in this. And I like the fact that that she says, why did you take me out of dance and stuff? And their response was totally reasonable. Like any parent has to decide kind of what am I going to encourage with my
Right.
kids, right? Because you can't do everything.
Right.
And you have to kind of guess of like, okay, well, I guess we should kind of pursue this
Definitely.
and for these reasons. And so I liked how they kind of played that whole thing in their relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I loved the ending. I thought it totally paid off, and I thought Lacey did a great job. I mean, I guess she worked for a couple months
Yeah.
on this dancing, and she did a great job
Yeah.
with it. And so yeah, it's my number 3.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
So, Jess, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Holly and Ivy. I really love this one, and I anticipated liking it a lot.
Mhm.
And it hit the mark for me. I loved that the friend, I'm not the romantic of this group, so I loved that the friendship, was the spotlight of this
Uh-huh.
story. And I think too, just the main characters, Melody and Adam, I think were their names. They had these kind of very real, um, not really conflict, I guess, but they had to like have these conversations about sometimes you have to put this dream job on hold to do
Right.
something more practical to get to that dream job or whatever. And I thought that was
Mhm.
really nice to have in there because
Yeah.
it's very realistic for a lot of people. We can't all just give up our city job so we can go run the Christmas store, from
Right.
our small hometown. That's not real life.
Right.
And
What are you
so
saying?
so I really like that
Yeah.
they had that aspect. And I mean, there was a whole book loving like concept to this. I mean, come on, I'm the literary nerd here. So the
Yeah.
fact
Oh,
that there
yeah.
was the girl who loved the books and she had her Melody had her library scientist degree, all that worked for me. It was great.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really like that part of it too. That's very good. Uh, all right, Carrie, what's your number 3?
Yes, top 3. Okay. So my number
Woo!
3 is Deliver by Christmas.
Yay!
That was such a good one. I love it because I'm a sucker for any type of you've got mail trope or anything like
Uh-huh.
that. It's just love it. But he was, this widower who's ready. No, he didn't think he was ready for a romance, but his family's
Uh-huh.
pushing this other woman on him and stuff. And then sure enough, he's falling naturally in love with someone on the side, like with these phone calls and then running into this pretty woman and the town, but they don't know that it's each other. And I just thought their meet cute was really fun at the Christmas tree farm, and they, looked back at each other and they were like surprised by their
Oh,
exes.
that
I just love it. So
that ice cream shop scene when he looks back at her. Oh,
yes,
it's so good.
so
I love
cute.
that so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely top 3 for me, or number 3 for me. The only thing I do not like, and I don't like this in movies or books or anything, I don't like the that she thought he was married for half the movie.
Oh,
That
yeah.
kind of ruined the sweetness for me a tiny bit. But
Yeah.
she was also I mean, she wasn't giving her whole heart into it. She was struggling with that. But I was
Yeah, I
bummed
can
about
see that.
that. Mhm.
Very good. All right. Well, my number 2 on my list is One Royal Holiday.
Oh, yes.
And again, we've seen a lot of these royal movies, so the fact that this could be so high is
Yeah.
a little bit of a surprise, but I loved so much about it. I mean, I loved the whole idea of the pajama ball. That
Mhm.
was really fun. The pajama gala. I hope that we get to see that someday. And I loved the ending. I also loved the way that they handled his insecurities about leading his people and whether he was going to be a good leader,
Yeah.
and also the fact that she was the nurse for his father was so
Yes.
sweet.
Yes.
I mean, that really paid off, that reveal, I thought, and it was a nice little nod to our essential workers and our for 2020, and so that was lovely. And I loved Victoria Clark as the queen, was really
Yes.
really sweet, and it was nice because it had 3 layers of romance. You had your main couple, you had the mayor, and that and his assistant,
Bodyguard
whatever.
or
Yes.
whatever he was.
Yeah, and then you had the her father and the chef or whatever, and
Mhm.
that was so sweet. And I like they had a great meet cute in this at the donut shop, was really funny, and so yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought their dance together was really good at the end, and that she listens to his speech and then he's there. That was very romantic.
Yes.
So it's my number 2.
Love that. Good one.
Yeah. And so Jess, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Good Morning Christmas.
Yeah.
I loved it. Oh,
Uh-huh.
I loved it. Allison Sweeney. Well, I really love her to begin with, but she also did a similar movie, kind of like a similar thing with like a radio show host or something. I forget what it was
Yeah.
called. So, but yeah, I love the enemies to lovers kind of trope,
Love
and I
it.
think they pulled it off super well.
Yeah.
And I mean, that ending. I mean, I went, okay, this means a lot coming from me to say this. I went from being misty-eyed to needing a fan in a matter of seconds. Like, that was
Yeah.
a powerful
Yeah.
ending scene, and I mean, they both did fantastic with like playing those emotions in that final scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was good. It was so much fun.
Very good.
Yeah, she is great. I really love her. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Chronicle Mysteries, I have to say, but for the most part, all of her Hallmark movies,
Yeah.
I
It's
cannot,
great.
have all been good. I
Yeah.
mean, they already had chemistry. We knew that going into it with Irresistible Blueberry Farm, which was so good, and so that always helps, I think, too.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Riley Weston, the writer, and it was fun to have her back because she did uh, 2 of my favorite Hallmark movies, but particularly she did The Nanny Express, which I love,
Uh-huh.
which was the first movie that Brennan Elliott ever did for Hallmark, and that was way back in 2008.
Okay.
So that then a lot has changed, but I think you can kind of see some of that that feeling kind of in the movie, that it's sort of old school Hallmark in a way,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think. So that's a good pick. Very good. All right. So what is your number 2, Carrie?
Yes, my number 2 was almost my number 1. It was my number 1 for probably half of this movie watching season. But so I really, really love it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
Cranberry Christmas. Now, here's
Yeah.
the thing. This is really boring to some people, I think. But I was intrigued by it at the very beginning because it's this married couple who's separated and have to kind of have a second chance in their marriage. And Hallmark never does that. They never do it. And I think they did it really well. And I was really anticipating them to maybe bungle this a little bit, but they didn't. So here we have this couple who've known each other since like kindergarten. They kind of fell into a long relationship, been just really good friends, got married, have this cranberry farm. They're starting to build their business, I mean, and so she takes it off like a national thing. Well, it kind of separates them and they have to work their way back. And I just thought that they did a great job working their way back to each other. They really loved each other. So my favorite line was, she was like, I want you to go after your dream. I don't want to get in the way of that. And he says to her, you are the dream. And so they really just choose each other at the end. And I thought it was very honoring to marriage. So really, really fun. Or sweet, not fun. It wasn't necessarily a fun movie, but it was a sweet movie that just honored marriage really well.
Yeah. And I would encourage them to continue to explore different relationships, whether it's the friendships in Holly and Ivy, whether it's here's the marriage in Cranberry Christmas.
Right.
And that movie had a lot of really nice moments. Anything involving the television was ridiculous and didn't
the show, the national show. But it was these big dreams that they were trying to follow, and they had to decide, wait a minute. I mean, of course, in the Hallmark world, they could end up doing both, which is wonderful. Good for them. But it was fun.
Yeah, that was nice. And both Project Christmas Wish and Cranberry Christmas were written by Joa Boken. So she had a great season, I'd say.
Yeah.
She also did Christmas in Vienna, which was fun enough. It had some. It wasn't quite. Maybe my expectations were a little too high on that one, but she also did Love in Store this year, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So really she is doing a great job with her writing. Way to go. So, all right. So we have it. This is it. This is the big moment. Our number one picks.
Are we ready? That's suspense.
My number one pick is Delivered by Christmas. I gave this a perfect score in the recap.
Oh.
I feel like is it technically perfect? Of course not. But as far as what a movie is said, I always try, as a film critic, I always try to judge something by what it's trying to be. And do I feel like it successfully did that? Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this was very successful in being a Hallmark Christmas movie. It was really good. And I loved them getting to know each other. Yeah. And I felt like they did that, even though they weren't technically in the same room. To me, the conversations that they had over the phone, it felt like they were in the same room. It felt like they were together to me. I felt like that's such chemistry. And then when they would see each other around town, that chemistry was so there. Like I said, that ice cream scene, stores. Oh, it was so good. And so good. I loved the ending. I thought it was really great. And I don't know if the fact that they had to be kind of separated from each other when they were talking at the end, that if that was a COVID thing or whatever, but I thought it really worked. And I really loved her character. When she has all those Post-it notes and trying to kind of do everything on her own and by herself. And I can relate to that as somebody who's just about to turn 40 and single and everything. Like, you do kind of, you figure out your way to kind of live so that it's not like you constantly want to be like sad about the fact that you don't have a partner. So you just, kind of figure out your way. And so when I can imagine that if I were to meet somebody, that would be it would be kind of hard, because I've developed, I mean, I hope so, and I hope I will, but you develop your routine and your kind of your life, because you have to. That's just the way we are as humans. And I don't know, I liked that and her relationship with her sister. And I agree. I guess I can see the point about her coming to these conclusions about him being married, and
Yeah.
I mean, especially because now this is like the second. It was the second time that she'd had that kind of. At first, she thought that he was married to his sister, and that
Right.
sounds weird, but yeah. And then she thinks that she sees him out on the date with
Yeah.
Fiona Vroom. So I can see that, but they didn't dwell on it too much, and it made for a really satisfying ending when her sister's like, "This is ridiculous. I'm I'm stepping in, figuring this out." So I just loved it. I thought it was great. And you got a diverse couple, which is for nice to see. But they had nice chemistry,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was my favorite of the whole season. So way to go!
Love
And
that. Love it. Yes.
I think you can tell when there's new writers, sometimes that they just have a little bit of a fresh take on the Hallmark movie. This was Mike Mariano,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and this is his first Hallmark movie, and yeah, he knocked it out of the park. It was great.
Yeah.
And so Jess, what's your number one?
My number one was Rachel's favorite movie, clearly, Project Christmas Wish.
It's interesting because mine was from the very beginning of the season, and then yours was last
Yeah.
weekend of the season.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah, I it just hit all the boxes for me, I think, of what I'm looking for in a movie. I thought they had really great chemistry. I thought it had good humor, like the whole thing with when his dad's like he was like, "Oh no, your grandpa didn't say date. Oh, I said mate." And there's like going through all those things, like just little things like that. That was funny, I thought.
Mhm.
And I thought it had some more unique things, like the giant, like gingerbread house, like an
Oh, that
actual
Yes.
was good. That was a good scene.
house. Um, as well as just like some real conversations, like when they opened up to each other and like more of that like kind of straightforward talk.
Right.
Like even at the end, when she was like, "I'm a human being and I have emotions and I can't just like give you my heart and wait around hoping you're gonna do it the same." And
Yeah.
so I always love when they kind of have those straightforward conversations like that.
Yeah.
Um, this is off topic, but that's something I really loved about the Lifetime movie, Christmas Yule Blog. They like literally just told each other what they were thinking like the whole time, and it was amazing
It's
to
refreshing.
me. But that really works for me, and I think that we've seen more of that in Hallmark this year,
Yeah.
for sure. So I really like that. And come on, there was a Christmas horse. I'm an equestrian. There was a Christmas
Yes.
horse. I mean, that's just the icing on the cake.
That's funny.
Except when she was like, "Do I really have to keep the horse?" I'm like, "No, you always keep the horse. What is wrong with you?
That's
Keep the
great.
horse."
So very good. All right. So Carrie, what is your number one?
As my number one for the whole season is Good Morning Christmas. And we
Woo!
talked about that because it was high on your guys' list as well. So I don't need to talk all about it, but why I liked it was I think just that. I love the two main characters, Allison Sweeney and Mark Lucas. I trust their chemistry and I trust their what they bring to each role because of Irresistible Blueberry Farm is
Yes.
ever. And he's flirty and she's straight laced, and but they just really played off each other well, I thought. So I love the chemistry and the two people, but it was just goofy enough. It was a little serious enough. It was crazy enough. It was Christmas enough. It was everything to me that each scene that came on the screen, I was like, oh my gosh, that was better than the last one. Oh my gosh, that added to the story so much. And so it was really fun. But what I loved watching them on their show. Like I thought they were so funny to watch in their banter, and then the cameras would go off and they would let down, and be mad at each other, and then they were on again, because they were on TV. And so I loved it. I thought that was great. I would recommend it to anybody. Good Morning
Mhm.
Christmas.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick before we go, I think it's only fair that we talk just a little bit about which of all of them was our least favorites. So my big miss it was actually a Godwink Christmas, the third Godwink Christmas. I didn't get to talk about it on the podcast because I wasn't on that episode, but I just felt like I didn't feel like it was a very good Godwink. First of all,
No.
they I mean, what, they happened to live in the same town. They both moved there. That's, I mean, there's probably thousands of people that I could have evidently a God week with. I mean, it just seemed very weak sauce to me. As far as something like, wow, that was such a coincidence. Oh my goodness. Um, and this was the first movie that I felt like Brooke D'Orsay was a little bit annoying. I mean, she was unreasonably happy about like her corporate job. Like nobody's that happy about like, yay, we get to do all the. I don't know. Like, I was just kind of not into her performance in this one, and I normally, she's Miss Christmas. I normally love her, but I just feel like with this Godwink series that they're that if you're going to try to make something for faith-based audiences, go all the way and actually make something for a faith-based audience. Like have it be about Jesus and
Right.
praying,
Don't water
like
it down.
faith, and don't just have it be this sort of halfway,
Right.
because then nobody's satisfied. The
No.
faith-based audiences aren't satisfied. The regular audiences aren't satisfied.
Right.
It's just kind of lame. And I thought it was the worst movie that Hallmark did this year.
Well, this was the first Godwink that they added that little tinkle, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, that was lame too.
So bad.
I don't know. Yeah. So that was my least favorite. What about you, Jess? What was your least favorite?
I agree that one was a miss for me for sure with Brooke D'Orsay, but I think my worst was a toss up between Catherine Bell's, which I don't even remember what it was called.
Meet Me
Yeah, Meet Me at Christmas.
And that one and Glenn Brooks. So with Meet Me at Christmas, I hate wedding movies. I don't like
Yeah.
them. I don't like the June weddings. I just don't like wedding
Yeah.
movies. Wedding movies are just not for me. And I was just bored. I was
Yeah.
really bored. I played video games while I watched it.
Well, the conflict didn't really make sense. Who cares if she had one day with this, in her teen year, in her 20s or whatever. Who cares? I mean, she was completely faithful in her marriage and she had a great marriage. It doesn't matter at
30-year
all.
marriage, right? Oh,
It is, if how dare you have another relationship? What? That wasn't even a relationship. Like the conflict didn't make sense.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. And then with Glenn Brooks, I was on the recap on the podcast for that one. So anyone who's listened to that knows why I
Yeah.
didn't like it. But Kyle was just so unlikable. Like, he was just an idiot. He didn't make any sense. I could not get on board with the character of Kyle as a leading man.
Yeah.
Which is so surprising because Antonio Cupo and Autumn Reeser, and this is their third movie together, so I was expecting them to have more chemistry.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I love the love of the Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. So that was it was surprising.
Yeah. Well, to be
But
fair, I don't think the story really gave them as much, to work with as it could have as far as like it was kind of
yeah,
slow, and it's just the way he was written. I mean, he was grumpy. There's not going to be
yeah,
a lot of chemistry.
right.
You had
Carrie, what
such high
about you?
hopes. Yeah, Jess, you had such high hopes for that too. So
I know, I
the
did. I'm
disappointment
still sad about it.
definitely felt. Definitely. Well, my bottom, my number 40 out of all of these movies is A Chateau Christmas. You guys, I hated it. Hated it. Nothing worked for me in this. I was so sad for that little girl that she went to this huge hotel for Christmas. She had nobody else around her for Christmas. And I was blown away that they were like decorating another Christmas tree that wasn't even their own in the hotel room just because it was, I don't know, the whole thing that didn't work for me. I was like, that's sad. But then the music and the planning this concert was so stressful, and no one practiced their instruments hardly. And I mean, I could go on and on. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
time to be concerned about centerpieces when you have to practice your music. Like, I don't know. It was just boring to me.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It was
Yeah.
definitely weak, and also, like, I have to say, I think it was a tiny bit tone deaf for 2020 because, I mean, none of us, the arts are all shut down, and we can't go to, there's a certain escapism to that, I guess, but
Yeah.
also it was just kind of like, oh,
And
I
then
miss going to Christmas concerts and Christmas, like,
um,
oh no.
there was,
So,
okay, that
yeah.
year, no, that was one of the first weekend movies, I think, along
Hmm.
with On Christmas Tree Lane. And that was kind of the same concept of let's do this music performance, but they were trying to save something. But that was done really well.
Yeah, it was way better.
Way better.
Agree.
So
I agree.
yeah, those
And
kind of contrasts are like,
they didn't have very good chemistry, Luke
no,
McFarlane and Merritt
no,
Patterson. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
used to think that Luke McFarlane would have chemistry with anybody, and this year,
not so.
no, I really didn't like his Valentine's movie either. So hopefully,
We've got another one coming, so it
hopefully
looks
that'll
promising
redeem.
from the previews, but we
Yeah,
know sometimes that's not,
Yeah.
always
right.
accurate.
So there we go. That's our thoughts. Let us know if you are listening what your top 10 would be, what maybe didn't work for you. We'd love to have that in the comment section or on Twitter. Share with us your thoughts. That would be great. And Jess, where can people find you?
You can find me at JessBSW blog on Instagram and on Twitter.
Great. And Carrie?
Yeah, come over to Instagram and look up Hallmark Comics. That's Hallmark_comics.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And I want to make sure to thank everybody who helped us with this season, all the guests that we had, all the interviews that we had, all the work that all the co hosts did, the work that the editors did, all of it unbelievable, incredible. Thank you so much to everybody. It was a huge undertaking, but I'm really proud of our coverage. I think we had some really fun moments, and so thank you to everybody. And make sure that you are following us at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And we're going to be continuing to cover Hallmark throughout all of 2021. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, and consider becoming a patron. We have our patron watch along coming up. We don't have a date yet, but we'll soon. But we have Natalie Hall joining us for that, and it's going to be super fun. So we're going to be watching Winter Princess. So it's anybody can join in the watch alongs. It's only $2 a month to contribute. So please consider doing that. We'd really appreciate it. Join in. We have our patron Facebook group. And so check that all out in the description section, the information. We also have our merch store, which has tons of fun designs. So check that out as well. And thank you so much, ladies. This was so much fun.
This is so
And
Yeah.
we wish you all one last Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry
Christmas,
Christmas.
everybody.
Bye. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right.